there, this is Amy. Thanks so much for stopping by this evening. I am going to show you how I painted this picture, and then eventually I will be doing another video, hopefully sometime, probably not tomorrow, but maybe this weekend or the beginning of next week, to show you how I transpose this pattern or something similar onto a wine glass. Alright, tonight I will be using oh wow, the sun, it's blurry. There you go. 3/4 inch flat brush and a number 12 flat brush, and these are the folk art enamel brushes, or the one-stroke brushes I should say. And then I also have this is a fingernail paintbrush. It's a Donna Dewberry U Pro round, number 0, DD8160, and I'm going to use that to actually do some dotting in the center of the flower. So let's get started. The paint that I will be using is Peridot. That is a multi-purpose folk art enamel, or folk art paint I should say. Berry wine, which is a folk art enamel, and then the Wicker white, which is also folk art enamel, and the autumn leaves, also folk art enamel. Then I'm going to be using the multi-surface burnt umber and the school bus yellow. Seems like when for some reason I'm noticing that my camera keeps going in and out of sight. It's blurry, so I apologize for that. Not sure what's going on. Then the school bus yellow, which is also the folk art enamels. And I'm just looking to make sure that I did miss one. And that is my Thicket, which is my favorite green to use. And let's go ahead and get started. Not sure what's happening here. I keep noticing that my camera's going out of focus. I do apologize for that. I'm going to go ahead and get started on my pumpkin. And I don't know, for some reason I've been painting pumpkins for a long time, but haven't done it for a while, and I just had so much struggle with painting a halfway decent pumpkin, so I apologize if this is not up to snuff, but I'm doing my best. And I do not have any flow medium, so doing this on the cardstock is going to be a little bit more difficult. But I'm going to start off just by doing a little V at the top. And this is kind of going to be a reminder of this is where my stem's going to go. So then I can either just start off with doing the stroke, or I can go ahead and just do a line of what I think my pumpkin will be. And, you know, that's just a guideline. And then I'm going to go ahead and double load my brush with the autumn leaves and the school bus yellow. I'm going to go ahead and start here and pull it around. Like I said, you may have to go back over this because it's dry, and brush this in. And I apologize for my background noise. You guys always get to hear my laundry going. This is the best time for me to do laundry, when I'm down here painting. Now if it weren't so dry, like when I go to do it on the glass, it's not going to be so dry. It's a different surface. It's one reason I like to paint on glass so much, because it is such a smooth, easy flowing surface, which makes it easy. You don't really have to worry too much about this, because you're going to be kind of going over it with your next layer. I'm going to come back up here and then kind of do my few little strokes and get my next section in for my pumpkin on the other side. I'm going to go ahead, and in my sample I didn't do this, whoops, doing it the wrong way. I'm going to go ahead and add some brown in to this side. I did add brown in, but in my middle layers. This orange that I'm using is a little bit darker than just a regular orange because of it being fall. And that's why I like it so much, because it already is a little bit darker and not the typical shade for fall. Now if you don't want so much brown in yours, you can just load it just with a little bit of brown, just like a touch of brown, if you want to do it that way. Now here on the bottom of my pumpkin, I mean, you can make it straight, you can have it coming up a little bit more if you wish. It's really up to you. Now I'm going to go ahead and start with my next row. I'm just going to kind of pull it down to the bottom of the pumpkin. Just kind of brush it in here. And I can go back over it, going back up, or just continue coming back down with it. Really just, it's up to you. Now if you feel like you want to add another bit of brown to this layer, you can. If you don't feel like you need to, again, that's up to you. I kind of like the darker in it, personally. I think that's just more of a personal preference as opposed to what what you should do or what you have to do. I guess with painting you don't have to do anything. It's yours, so make it your own. Now this got a little dark, so I am going to go back over it to try to brighten it up a little bit. Taking that back into the bottom again. Now at some point here I am going to switch over to my smaller flat brush. It's probably a good time right now, but I haven't yet. Which I probably will right about now. So now I'm going to do my B12. Go ahead and get the paint loaded in it. And again, it is the autumn leaves and the school bus yellow with a touch of burnt umber. I love burnt umber. It's my favorite brown in this series of paints. Now when you get to this point, you can go ahead and just fill this part in if you choose to do so. Feel like that's enough layers, or if you want to define your layers, more as far as the, like these, not layers, but the little lines that you would have on your pumpkin, you can choose to do that now. I'm just going to go ahead and fill it in like this for this moment, and then I'm going to come in here and try to add some more detail here. Now you can actually do this where you can swivel it around and come up. With the pumpkin that I showed you, you got a lot going on around it, so It really doesn't have to be too perfect because a lot of it's going to be covered up just by the greenery and the leaves and the flowers that we put on it. I want to define this edge a little bit better. Now this, you could actually have taken this part clear down to here if you wanted. I'm just going to leave it up where it's at, where I have it right now, because I do kind of like that. And with getting this brown so thick, I'm going to try to lighten this up a little bit in the center. There's some orange in it here in a minute. For some of my fall leaves. And see how it comes. Just, you know, take your time. Blend it, get it to where you like it. As I say often, it's not rocket science. And it's okay. If you like it, that's all that matters. I kind of want this line to be a little bit more blended, and not such a stark line. That's why I'm doing this. A little bit of this brown, cover it a little bit. Okay, and I'm going to leave it be. Like I said, you could come down further here if you wanted to, like down into this area, bring it down. You know, it's really up to you, whatever way you like it best. As I've seen it done, you know, kind of both ways, so it's okay, you know, either way. All right, so the next step I'm going to do is add my stem, and I'm going to do it a little bit differently. I think there are a variety of ways that you can actually place the stem. I'm not cleaning my brush, so there may be a little orangey look to it. That's fine. But I'm going to go in here, just kind of bring it down here, and then I'm going to pull it out this direction. I'm going to come back in, and I want it to have more of a rounded base, so I'm going to pull it back up this way. Just keep doing that. Alright, so here we go. Add some more to it. Cover this up, make it more opaque and not so thin. So I'm just lightly tapping on it. And then I can just come up here and do the same thing. You can make like a short, stubbier kind of a stem if you wish. You know, when you pick pumpkins and all, there's just a variety of, you know, they're not all the same by any means. Some are short, some don't even hardly have a stem. So, there you go. And then you can make them brown even if you wish. You know, if you wish it to be brown, that's fine too. Alright, so I'm going to rinse up my brush, because the next step that I'm going to be doing is trying to debate if I should. I'm going to go ahead and put my leaves in, so I am washing out brushes. Hold on here. have a sink in my basement, so I am just turning to my sink right now and doing that. Washing these brushes out. I'm going back to my 3/4 brush, and I'm double loading it with the Thicket green and the Peridot. I love the Peridot because it actually is a metallic color, so it's kind of fun because it's a little shiny. But anyhow, I'm just going to make some fun leaves sporadically, and just kind of this leaf is just kind of a wiggly one that I'm just going to do a few here and there. One thing neat is, as I've mentioned in the past, is when you're working with paper or glass, something you can actually turn around. It's fun because when you're working on a wall, you can't turn it. You have to just do it the direction and do it how, you know, however you can by turning the brush and such, you know, different directions. When you're doing the paper or doing glass, you can actually make the item turn, so it's easier to paint the leaves or paint whatever it is you're painting, because you're able to actually turn it. I love this. See how shiny the green is? And I'm using the lighter green on the outside. You can use the darker green. It doesn't matter. It's whatever you prefer. Or you can mix it up. You have a variety of them. You know, like some are the darker color on the outside, some of them are the darker color on the inside. It's really a matter of your choice. And that's one thing I say a lot of with this kind of thing is, you know, it's really all about, do you like it? You know, don't be so picky. And I know some people are like, well, that's not right. That's not the right way to do it. You know what? There's so many different ways to do things in life. If you're happy with it, that's what matters. You know, if somebody else doesn't like it, as long as it's not something you're selling and your customer's not happy with it, then that is a big deal. But if it's something like this where it's for yourself, so be it. And I like actually going from the bottom, putting my stem in. I've always done it from the top down, but I was watching somebody else that does this type of painting, and she does it from the bottom a lot of times. Not always, but a lot of times. And I really have decided I like it like that. And like I said, this leaf is just a really easy, you know, you just kind of wiggle it. I think I'm pretty much keeping my brush upright, maybe turning it a little bit, but not a whole lot. I'm trying to get clean, crisp edges. If you want to mix leaf styles, you know, that's fine too. For the purpose of this video, I'm just doing just the same style of leaf, not mixing it up at all. Like I said, I had a hard enough time getting this silly pumpkin to where I even remotely liked it, so I'm not gonna fuss too much about type of leaves I'm doing right now. Okay, so that's all I'm doing for the leaves. Aren't they pretty? I think they're so pretty. Now, you can hit this with a hair dryer. I think I burnt my hair dryer up the other day. I'm not 100% positive on that one. I guess I could get it out and try it, but I think I did. You know, sometimes when you're using it, I probably should be using an actual product that's supposed to be used for drying things besides hair. I think it's pretty shot. Anyways, you can continue on, which I'm going to do. You can continue on with doing the flowers. If you're picking up color that is anything is in addition to the leaf or the petals of the flowers, it's fine. Just give it some added interest, which, like I said, you can let this dry a little bit before you move on. For the purpose of the video, I'm not moving on, or I'm sorry, I am moving on. I'm just going to go ahead and do these, and hopefully they will be fine. I'm double loading my brush with the Wicker White, and I should have showed you before, and I always put a little extra paint on it, but with the Wicker White and the Berry Wine. And then I'm going to go ahead, and if I weren't stroking over the actual leaves or the pumpkin itself, then I'd be fine as far as not being too concerned about the colors actually leading into what I'm painting. But like I said, it's okay. You know, I don't care. And it's just kind of just a fun little flower to add. So I'm just kind of stroking it here, doing a hoop, and then doing another hoop. And then coming in here and doing the same thing. A little thick here. That's okay. Like I said, it would be neater if I had dried it. But like I said, for the purpose of the video, you're getting the gist. I'm not selling this to anybody, so I'm not too worried about it. This is just for demonstration purposes. And I'm only going to do, I'm only going to do 3 flowers on this. If you feel the need to do more, you certainly can on yours. It's fine. You can see, you know, where the flower is obviously picking up color from the leaves. That's okay. Not a biggie. Not a biggie. You can go over it again if you wish. Like I said, I'm not too worried about it since I'm just doing this for, oops, let me make sure I get up in here, for video purposes. Yeah, I could go back over those, but like I said, I'm not going to. These are just, you know, cute little flowers to add. Alright, so I have those in. And let's see here. Let me go ahead. Next thing I'm going to do is take some of the burnt umber and white, double load my number 12 brush, and I just did the flowers with the number 12 brush. I'm going to double load it, and then I am going to proceed with just drawing some like branchy looking things out here. I'm just going to add some little round berries. This is just to give the painting a little bit more interest. It doesn't have to be a whole lot. I think my leaves are kind of standing out. They're pretty big. Not sufficient, but I'm just going to do this in a, I just got paint on here, do this in a few spots on this paper. It doesn't have to be precise, just kind of a branch, you know. Branches kind of grow, or can grow, kind of wild. Then I'm going to take a little tool, which I forgot to mention at the beginning of the video. It's a little pouncing kind of a tool. It's a little bit more colorful. Alright, but before I do that, I'm going to go ahead and finish the center of my flowers. I'm going to take my nifty little fingernail brush, which I don't do painted fingernails, but, and I'm going to go ahead and just tap it, use it to tap, little dots in the center. Now you could just do this, leave them white, that's fine, or if you want to make them stand out a little bit more, which I typically like to do. You could also use this brush to like outline, but you know, I really don't like the way that looked when I tried to do that earlier. So that being said, I'm going to take some of the School Bus Yellow, put it in the center too. And I could come back in here and add some brown, but I'm just going to do the white and the yellow so it stands out a little bit more. And you can pile it up heavy if you want, or just real light. Doesn't matter. Alright, so let's get to this other tool. And this is a Martha Stewart item. And I don't know what the size of this one is. It's small, obviously. But anyhow, I'm going to use it to put some berry looking things on my paper here. You know what? I was going to try to use some red, but I think I'm just going to go ahead and stick with my berry wine. And I pounced this into my paint, and it was pretty thick, so I just kind of rubbed a little bit of it off because I didn't want it to be that thick. But have you ever, in like the primitive type of decorating, seen like the viney kind of things with the berries? This is what I'm trying to simulate here. I got a little bit of other color paint in here. Sorry about that. I think they make pretty good circles. Not perfect, but pretty good. And it's okay if you pounce on the actual, like the leaves. That's fine. And I'm just going to do a few over here. See, I kind of like, and I hopefully you guys like me doing these paintings prior to putting the design on a glass. And with this too, now I keep forgetting my train of thought here. I'll speak out. You know, if you want to add another color, which I seem to be doing here, that's fine too. And maybe just stand back after you've done these and see where you might want to add some more, but I think that's sufficient. If you want to go back in and maybe just put a little bit of highlighting in, you can. Or if you even wanted to go in and make it like you're putting some of the vining actually in it, you can do that too. But anyhow, what I was saying is I like to try to do these paintings so you can kind of see what it is I'm doing prior to doing it on a glass, because I think sometimes with my glass painting it may not be quite as easy to see what I'm actually doing. And I'm just randomly putting these marks on here, not anything specific. And if you wanted to do some kind of squirrely little viney things coming out here, you can do that too. I'm not going to. I'm just going to leave it as it is. But see how this metallic, this peridot just jumps out at you. I love it. But anyhow, this is my painting for this evening. And as I mentioned, I will be following up with doing some type of a design with these elements in it on a wine glass for the upcoming Halloween season. I don't know if any of you look at it like that, but I do. And like I said, I hope that you, I always forget which way to tilt here. I hope that you like this. If you do like my paintings, like my channel, please subscribe, give me a big thumbs up, and definitely subscribe to my channel. Please share. I appreciate that if you do share my videos to people that you think might like them. And thanks for stopping by, and until the next video, I will see you then. Have a good evening.